author who's known for building the Don't Sweat the Small Stuff franchise with her beloved husband, Richard Carlson, and recovering from his sudden death inspired her new book, From Heartbreak to Wholeness, The Hero's Journey to Joy. Please welcome Christine Carlson. Christine, so you and your husband were college sweethearts who wrote all these books to help people find joy and peace and happiness, and then all of a sudden your joy, peace, and happiness was taken from you. Can you just tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's been 11 years now for me, but Richard got on a plane and he was promoting his latest book, and he had a pulmonary embolism on a flight. So it was a very sudden death.
My goodness, just like that.
Yeah, very quick.
So you said goodbye one morning and then?
One morning he was there, the next morning, yeah, he was gone. And it really catapulted my family and I, as you can imagine, into deep grief and sudden grief. But, you know, we heal, and that's my message with this book, is there's a path to healing.
And you say in the book, it was shortly thereafter, through all of this devastation and grief, that you saw little glimpses of joy and happiness sort of peek in.
Yeah, I talk some about grief in the book, just to help give people a chance to understand what they're going through. For me, I had what I would call a real awakening, and so for me, it was just, I think that there's this time period where you're grasping onto life, especially during a big change and transition. It doesn't always happen through the loss of a spouse or the loss from death. Any kind of really large change and transition throws you into grief, and I felt that there were these glimpses of light that gave me hope and encouragement, like grace.
Like what kind of glimpses of hope?
Yeah. Well, you know, I realized that as I would allow myself to go through grief and I would surrender to this process of healing, that my body would tell me, you know, I would feel my stomach would hurt when I wasn't crying enough, and then if I laid on the floor and I just allowed myself to feel, then lo and behold, a moment later I would feel something akin to bliss and peace, because your body just rewards you for grieving correctly in a way.
Your body kind of acts out no matter what you're trying to do.
Is
Like
that
if you're trying
true?
to keep it in, it'll come out anyway.
It's the truth.
Yeah, I know.
So
Sometimes when you least expect it.
you also say something about becoming a hero instead of a victim, and that's kind of pivotal in the healing process.
Yeah, well, that's why I chose The Hero's Journey to Joy. And I really love Joseph Campbell's work, and while this book isn't a true depiction of his work, my favorite quote from him is that you have to let go of the life that you've planned to live the life that's been planned for you. And that is a huge pivot turn for anyone, to not be a victim of their circumstances, but to choose to be the hero.
Mm-hmm. You also say that, you know, there's some things that we should probably never say to someone who is grieving. There's the wrong thing to say. Believe it or not, we say there's never wrong thing to say. Well, it's not the wrong thing to say when you're trying to comfort someone.
Yeah.
And what is that?
Well, and just prefacing that people really want to say something, and it's coming from a really good place. But I always think the worst thing anybody can say is, he's in a better place. You know, that's the one that is like, no, he needs to be right here with me. He's not in a better place. You
Because
know?
even so, even if the person is in a better place, and we know he's in a better place, the truth of the matter is, the best place for that individual, for you in your heart at that moment, is right next to you. You don't want that person gone.
No, and especially, you know, I mean, I'm sure when there's people who are really suffering, and you know, I went through this with my father-in-law, and he was truly suffering, and I felt that it was the end to his suffering, and I think that's where that comment comes from, typically, but it's only appropriate maybe in a very small, narrow category.
Do you know what I was saying? We were talking about this earlier, like until you lose someone that is very close to you, I think it's difficult for others to understand, because they've just not been there. It's not that they don't want to be there for you, they don't understand how, and I understand it now firsthand after losing my father, and I now can say to people, no matter what I say, it's not going to make it better, and I know that. But just know you're in my thoughts and my prayers, and that's really all you ever really want to hear when you're in that
And
position.
you know, also not only just about saying something. My husband recently went through, his cousin died, and I didn't know what to say to the parents. Right, they had just lost their 36-year-old son, and I didn't say anything. I walked up to him and I just hugged him out of I just wanted him to know what I felt, but felt like there weren't any words to make it feel better.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't have to say anything, and sometimes people say the wrong thing because they're nervous.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
you know,
absolutely.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you tell us? There's also something in your book, and it's called Soul Mantras. What is that? And can you tell us an example?
Well, this book is 9 chapters, and I wanted to have a workbook section at the back so that each reader could write their own hero's journey, so that it's really the stories that we tell ourselves about what's happened that matter most. This soul mantra is expel your anger, forgive and let go, and you will be free and filled with love. It's really designed to be like an affirmation to open people up to this soul inquiry, and then the writing process in the back of each chapter.
I like the fact that it's that you can write your own thoughts, and you
Journaling's so healing, right?
Yeah.
writing and to see it on paper and to read it, even if you never read it again.
Even if you never show it to anybody, it's just for
Absolutely.
you, because you were literally writing your own story, like you said.
Well, I think that, people are in a transformation process when they go through a huge change and transition of any kind. And it's anytime your life is annihilated and you lose your identity, you're going to be sitting in that place of the unknown, and you're going to be like, what do I do now? And that's what I've created. This book is a template for what do you do now? You step into your own healing journey.
What I love about that too is that you're not alone.
Yeah.
Whatever you're
Yes.
going through, someone's been there.
I know.
And it's not only happened because you feel like it's the weight of the world on your shoulders.
Right.
Yeah.
And to pick up this book, you're like, oh, there's at least one person who knows what I'm going through.
Exactly. It's so
Exactly.
true. Christine, thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thanks
You're
for all.
wonderful. Thank you.
Strong woman.
Yes.
From Heartbreak to Wholeness is available now wherever books are sold. And to find out how you can download a free gift of Chris's recorded meditations, go to FromHeartbreakToWholeness.com.
Thank you, Christine. You all stick around, because up next, beauty expert Alexandra